Good morning, starshine. I never know if it's starshine or sunshine. So, good morning, starshine or sunshine. Cat John says hello. Oh, it's a real treat being me. Last week, if you listened to it, I started off singing to Katy Perry's song about anxiety. And now I'm like, g'day, good morning. I hope you're well. Anyway. We are in a mini coaching series. So when clients come into my sphere, whether it be through the legends or one-on-one, they will come to me with certain things going on in their life, and I will offer them certain things that will aid their life and also strip things back in order to aid their life. So I'll pose them questions, offer them pieces of soul/homework to do, and then I'll check in with them. And it's no different for you today, even though you're from all over the world. I don't know where you are, and I don't know specifically what your practice is. Gosh, I'd love to know. You know, feel free to email in either mid mini coaching series on here or afterward. I'd love to read where you're at and what's coming up for you. But if you were my coaching client, I'd be asking you where you are at with regard to your practice, because there are going to be forces that will get in the way of you honoring your practice. We want to talk about honoring your practice and sticking to it, knowing that your ego, your stories can't be fuckness, too busy, other important things to do. Other people maybe not liking your practice because maybe it means you're less available, or maybe it means if you're showing up in a slightly different way that is, I don't know, let's say less aggressive or less dominating or controlling, even though people might like that, they might be like, what is going on? And our environment will absolutely respond to how we are being in our practice, right? Depending upon what your practice is, it will respond. And it's now about how will you respond to your environment, but also how are you going to respond to the thoughts in your head that will look to try and hijack your focus on whatever your practice is. So if I use the example of my 1%ers that I have been doing, probably I'd say for 5 weeks now, and it's feeling pretty good. The thoughts in my head are like, you're doing well. It doesn't matter. It's fine if we leave the water bottle in the car, or it's fine if we don't do our numbers today, or it's fine if we don't do whatever it may be, put the laundry actually away rather than on the bench next to the laundry fucking cupboard. It's fine. It actually doesn't matter. The ego starts to get a little bit sneaky and it's like, just take a bit of time off, just chill. You'll be sweet. You'll be cool. And please know that I am not about rah-rah toxic positivity. Motivate yourself to the point where you're like, I'm tired. What I'm saying here is you got to know yourself pretty well as to when you're fucking with yourself, right? So I know, with example to the 1%ers, when I'm telling myself to slack off, I know that is my ego hijacking me and what I want and my practice, because it can't be bothered. It is very frustrated with me being capable, and following through. It's like, damn it, this woman is unstoppable. We need to find a way to stop her. So let's tell her she deserves a break. Let's tell her to just take the night off from the 1%ers, And I know that when I do follow through on those 1%ers, I feel much better, feel good in myself. I feel clearer. Because even though they're these tiny, tiny little things, they all add up when I don't do them. And then they become one big giant thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need like the whole day to do the 1%ers. So it's also the same with the, quote slash word of the week on my mirror. I'm like, the thoughts do come in of like, I don't want anyone to really see this, that they're going to think that I'm a bit of a loony bin, even though they probably do, or if they do, they love me anyway, right? But also I can hear the story in my own head. So currently, I guess I'd say my environment is not a hindrance to my current practices. But my head is, the stories in my head are, is this really working? This is just more work we have to do. Again, there's something I know when I need to truly rest. And I know when my ego is trying to trick me to rest because it just can't be fucked, right? And I'm a person, if you've listened to this podcast from the beginning or for some time now, you know that I have got a high achiever in me, a persona in me that finds it hard to rest. So I know when I truly need it. Like the other few weeks, I was unwell, wasn't feeling ace. So I canceled all my gym classes and I canceled volunteering at Edgar's Mission. And I'm like, girlfriend, you really gotta rest. Like this is what you actually need. And I knew that I needed that. And so as a result, I got better much faster. But this other little sneaky thing that just can't be fucked, that spins that I need a little more rest, a little more time. And it's often on the things that I am in the practice of. There's another thing that I'm currently in the practice of, but I can't share it yet. I have to keep a secret. And that's like the worst thing in the world for me. I'm like, oh, but it's all for really good reason. And I can't wait to share it with you. It's actually fantastic news. I'm not pregnant, by the way. It's really fantastic news, but I specifically wrote an email. I'm like, can I share this with my community? And they're like, no, not yet. I'm like, fine. Anyway, I am in the practice of something quite big at the moment. And it's an everyday practice that I'm committing to for 30 days. And then I will have a new practice for the next 30 days and continuing on. So yeah, I can tell that my narrative and my story, it wants to tap out. It wants to take the easy route. But it's interesting, whenever I tap out, or when I have tapped out before and I don't do it, then the same part of me that has said, oh, you need a break, you're tired, it's time for you to rest, is the same part of me that goes, you lazy motherfucker. Look at you. I can't believe you actually stopped doing whatever it is that you were meant to be doing, right? And it's like, wow, I am literally in an abusive relationship with myself because you told me I needed to have a break. I took the goddamn break, and now you're punishing me with your unkind words about this goddamn break that I'm now taking. And so that's when the ego has got you. This is the sneaky, sneaky little part of us. So I want you to be mindful of this, because if this practice really does matter to you, and it will, because if your heart offered it to you, then it does matter. It does matter. Whatever it may be for you, it may be that you want to be in the practice of taking greater care of your well-being. And maybe you got a next best step in the last episode through the meditation. Maybe you are wanting to be in the practice of being more of a listener and an observer, rather than always having to talk over someone, or place an opinion, and then you've received a next best step in relation to that. Maybe you are in the practice of putting yourself like, oh, lo and behold, number one on the list of like, shit, I'd like to make myself matter. That would be nice, And then you have your next best step. You are now, or what you have done, which is a beautiful thing, but what happens is when you state what you want, something that you want, especially at the level of your heart, you've set up inner conflict. You've set up a dynamic where that part of you, the ego, is going to resist this. Please know this is normal and this is okay. But it's going to have some tactics. It's going to have tactics that are, if you look at them, they're fairly predictable. Your ego patterns and tactics are generally the same, right? If you care to look at them and take the time to look at them, they're generally the same with how you'll cock block yourself, right? So you've set up conflict, inner conflict. That's cool. That's normal. That's okay. That comes with stating something that you want that's going to benefit you, open you up, evolve, expand, etc. That is normal. You must expect this on the journey. Yeah. You've set up egoic resistance. That is normal. You must expect this when you choose to expand and open up and evolve. 100% normal. So now you want to look at, okay, how am I getting in my own way? How am I letting others get in my way? What is the narrative? What is the story? What is going on in the cogs in my noggin that is preventing me from honoring, respecting this practice? Because remember, this practice matters to you at the level of your heart. And fuck, it is so sacred when we honor our heart. It's so sacred. It is beautiful. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to us. And it contributes to us feeling aligned, congruent, authentic, responsible. It contributes to self-love. That's a nice thing. Self-respect, also a nice thing. And it's a message to ourselves that we value ourselves. And these all these invisible feelings can start to emerge when you honor what you are in the practice of. So, what I'm going to do after I finish talking here is set up a little meditation where you reflect on how you might or already are getting in your own way and what you can do to shift that so you can honor your practice. And this is the cool thing, right? So you setting up a practice to be in the practice of sets up a next best step, which you then be in the practice of, sets up your ego flaring itself, which sets up the practice of you dealing with your ego, which then sets up the practice of looking for resources, inner resources in how to overcome it, be with it, move through it, and come back to honoring your practice. It's pretty cool. This one thing of like, I'm going to honor this. I'm going to set up this practice. And it's like, oh, I was not expecting all of this jargon to come. But hey, it's all part of the process. So when you've stopped driving, when you stop walking, I'd love you to be in a reflective, nice state. You don't have to close your eyes for this one if you don't want to, but you can. Sometimes it's nice. It takes you out of, looking on the outside. But when you can, get nice and comfy. If it feels good for you, you can close down your eyes. And take 3 slow, beautiful breaths in and out. And once you've completed those 3 deep breaths, go ahead and breathe at your own pace, your own rhythm. And I'll invite you to place one or both hands over the center of your chest, your heart. This beautiful part of you offered a practice that will serve you. It offered a practice for you to honor. It also knows that there's a part of you that will want to resist. Protect and defend what your heart has offered. I'd love for you to take a moment here to honestly reflect. At how you might or how you have gotten in your own way. And let yourself be curious about the narrative and the patterns that you repeat or might repeat that stops you from honoring your practice. And in your deep knowing, what do you know to be your next best step out of the pattern, out of the sabotage, and back into alignment with your practice? when you feel ready in your own time, you're welcome to take your pen and put it to paper and write down how you're getting in your way, or how you might, and what you know to be your next best step to realign with your practice. Take your time here. I'll see you next week. Peace be with you.